Hello everyone, we are the students of Informatics College Pokhara. I am Bikal Mansingh Mandari with my group members Rahul Khatri, Rajina Subedi, Bisha Wagle, Siddharthi Rajan. And today we are here to discuss the comparative strategy of two sports giants, Nike and Reebok. So let's get into it. This video is going to be discussed in 5 chapters: introduction, external factors, internal factors, SWOT analysis, and conclusion and recommendation. So let's start by introducing our companies. Nike, which was also known as Blue Ribbon Sports, was founded by Philip Knight and Bill Bowerman in 1964. Nike first started as a distributor for Japanese shoe maker Onitsuka Tiger, also known as ASICS in the Korean market. But Nike currently is involved in designing, developing, and selling athletic footwear, apparels, equipment, and accessories. Now, talking about Reebok. Reebok is a British multinational company which was founded by Joe and Jeff Foster in 1958. Reebok first started as running spike producers for the athletes, but now widened its product range just like Nike has by selling athletic footwear, apparels, equipment, and accessories. Reebok, just like Nike, is a B2C model. Now, let's get on with pestle analysis. First of all, we'll be talking about the political factors, and to be specific, it will be about the payment of tax. Nike will have to pay more tax than Reebok as their revenue is high. Nike earns 41% of its total revenue from the United States. Government of US supports Nike as they maintain low interest rates, but the same isn't done from Reebok in its home country. The most influencing economical factor is unemployment. The unemployment in the United States is 3.9%, whereas it is 4.2 in the UK. When the economy is doing well, employment and disposable income are both greater. An increasing number of people are spending more money on technology and lifestyle things. So let's move on to social factors, which is lifestyle. Nike is associated with more and famous athletes and club than Reebok. People mostly idolize on sports players and look up to them for recent clothing trends. This helps the sales of Nikes more than that of Reebok. So talking about the technological factors, Nike has a better app with better interface. This is the app where customers are suggested items on the basis of their previous bought items and searches, whereas Reebok has started using 3D printing to create dynamic outsoles. This will reduce the price of shoes with the manufacturer made easy. So let's talk about the legal factors. Nike has been accused of child abuse. Many reports have come to light where Nike are accused of making children work in their factories. Whereas Reebok was sued by CrossFit, it was due to Reebok's unilateral change in how it calculates CrossFit's royalties. So the last is environmental factors. Reebok consistently utilized recycled goods. They do it in order to be sustainable and decrease the pollution in the environment. Whereas factories of Nike used to cause both air and water pollution. There was no system of recycling goods. Nike slowly is recouping with the problem by using plastics and other materials to make this use.
Now let's move on to the Potter 5 forces analysis. Potter 5 forces analysis is a framework for analyzing the level of competition within an industry. So we are applying it to not just Nike and Reebok but to the whole sport industry. The first force to be considered would be the bargaining power of suppliers, which focuses on the availability of suppliers. Things to be considered in this force is number of suppliers, size of suppliers, available substitutes, differentiation and switching costs for the suppliers. Both Nike and Reebok has a strong brand image and both are international companies. Also, the availability of suppliers is high and switching cost for suppliers is low for both Nike and Reebok, because of which both Nike and Reebok put itself in a dominating position while dealing with the suppliers. So the bargaining power of suppliers is low for both Nike and Reebok. The second force is the bargaining power of buyers, which is very similar to the suppliers' power. In case of Nike and Reebok, bargaining power of buyer is moderate. Since the high-end sportswear and accessory-based companies are available in moderate number, it is possible to name them on fingers, which means the buyer do have the options to buy from different companies, but the options are limited, which makes the bargaining power of buyers in moderate for sportswear and accessories industry. But compared to Reebok, Nike has more bargaining power to its customer because of its highly differentiated products. The next force is the threat of substitute products. Substitute is a product that provides equal or more functionality by meeting the same needs. For both Nike and Reebok, the threat of substitute is moderate. This is because a wide number of competing brands besides Nike and Reebok exist in the sport industry, such as Adidas and Puma, and various other international and local companies that produce low-price substitute products which poses a specific threat. But the specialized shoes of both Nike and Reebok are not easily replaceable, which makes the threat of substitute in moderate. While comparing Nike and Reebok, Nike has upper hand against Reebok because of its unique design, quality, and higher market share. Now on to the fourth force, threat of new entrants. Threat of new entrants for sportswear industry is generally low. The fact that establishing a shoes manufacturing industry requires huge amount of capital. Also, all shoes and apparels models are patent, making it difficult for new entrants to copy well-organized design. Moreover, the industry is dominated by the branded products and strong brand loyalty, which further raises the barriers for new entrants. The final force is the competitive rivalry. The sport industry has a strong level of competition because of the presence of multiple international level companies such as Nike and Reebok that are in direct competition. The sport industry has grown saturated and the current players are taking part in tough competition for deeper market penetration and to take away market share from others. Any move taken by one player is immediately looked in and also implemented by others, which make the competition and competitive rivalry among the sport industry very high.
Moving to our resource and competence, I have also included capabilities in resource. The assets, expertise, and abilities of an organization are referred to as resources. The capacity of an organization to successfully employ its resources may be categorized as its capabilities. The resource and capabilities of Nike and Reebok are as follows. In terms of technology, Nike uses EVA foam, Flyknit, and recognized as a fashionably popular brand, whereas Reebok is a sporty neutral third party that makes use of zigzag midsoles and zig-tech outsoles technology. In terms of material, Nike uses polyester and rubber, whereas Reebok uses cotton and corn. So talking about the product quality, Nike has a loose fitting, are lightweight to wear, extremely comfortable, whereas Reebok are quite heavy, uncomfortable, and has a snug fitting. Talking about durable, Nike is the best brand for running because of its durability, whereas Reebok sneakers are a great choice for both jogging and walking and are tough. In terms of brand equity, Nike focuses on quality and innovation and has led to strong brand equity, whereas Reebok has categorized its market based on the needs of its customers. Talking about research and innovation, Nike spends a significant amount of money on research and development each year in order to expand its product line and bring industry-leading product to market, whereas Reebok has dedicated to maintaining a strong and innovative product pipeline. Nike has maintained a global sale, created excellent partnership, talking about the global presence of Nike. And Reebok attracts serious athletes, creating market excitement and build cooperative relation with retailers. Now, talking about core competencies are considered to be the elements of a company that set them apart from its competition. Core competencies are what the company is good at, and from these capabilities, a competitive advantage is created. The core competencies of Nike and Reebok are: Nike has a global brand recognition, whereas Reebok is a trend identification. Nike is success with diverse team, whereas Reebok has ability to market to a niche segment. Nike has strong research and development, whereas Reebok has women's shoe design. Nike has manufacturing standards, Whereas Reebok has a design expertise, Nike has efficient distribution channel, whereas Reebok has a celebrity relationship.
Analysis of financial performance of Nike versus Reebok. The net profit margin of Nike was 10.29% in 2019, 6.78% in 2020, and 12.85% in 2021, whereas Reebok has 14.76% in 2019, 16.21% in 2020, and 12.08% in 2021. The return on capital employed of Nike was 0.52%, 0.38%, and 0.54% in 2019, 2020, and 2021 respectively, whereas the Reebok has 0.37% in 2019, 0.37% in 2020, and 0.11% in 2021. Moving on, the current ratio of Nike was 2.10 in 2019, 2.48 in 2020, and 2.71 in 2021, whereas Reebok possesses the current ratio of 2.48 in 2019, 1.75 in 2020, and 1.66 in 2021. Talking about the quick ratio of Nike, it was 1.38 in 2019, 1.59 in 2020, and 2.00 in 2021. And Reebok has the quick ratio of 1.46 in 2019, 1.73 in 2020, and 1.23 in 2021. Moving on, the inventory turnover ratio of Nike was 3.97 in 2019, 3.25 in 2020, and 3.45 in 2021, whereas Reebok has 3.06 in 2019, 2.77 in 2020, and 2.27 in 2021. The net profit of Nike was 21,643 in million US dollar in 2019, 21,162 in million US dollar in 2020, and 24,576 in million US dollar in 2021, whereas Reebok has the profit of 13,419 in million US dollar in 2019, 13,768 in million US dollar in 2020, and 11,256 in million US dollar in 2020-21.
At last, we have SWOT analysis, where we are going to talk about the internal strengths and weakness as well as external opportunities and threats. Strength. The strength of the Nike is strong brand awareness and brand value. Nike is one of the most recognizable brands in the world as its name is memorable, easy to pronounce, and very unique. According to Intrabrand, Nike has a brand value of $42.5 billion. Additionally, Nike aim for sustainability. Nike's CEO Mark Parker has addressed that they will continue to acknowledge the environmental issues in the communities, and another strength of Nike is its long-term partnership with Michael Jordan, which has proved to be beneficial in terms of sales for the company. Whereas the strength of Reebok lies in the product range and target group. The products are made not only in the premium range but also in mid-range, due to which they are able to target lower income groups, thus categorizing its products for each class of society. In addition, they have high customer engagement. Reebok has used social media to reach out to more than 35 million customers in a boost to improve customer engagement. Also, Reebok has multi-channel distribution, which though retail stores, their own websites, and online shopping portals such as Amazon. Moving on, the major weakness of Nike is poor labor conditions in foreign countries in the last 20 years. Nike has been consistently targeted regarding their poor labor conditions, and the highly reliance on the US market in terms of sales and revenue is the another weakness of Reebok. Whereas the weakness in the Reebok faces tough problem from fake and duplicate sales, and the other weakness is the poor marketing strategy. Reebok's shortcoming in marketing is its main weakness. While other athletic shoe manufacturers are promoting their product lines, Reebok is not and remains out of the constant reach with their customers. Opportunity. Taking about Nike's opportunity, emerging markets. Although Nike already has a presence in many foreign countries, there is still plenty of opportunities for Nike. This is because emerging markets like India, China, and Brazil are gradually flourishing. Whereas the opportunity for Reebok is they still have a kids market to try and build up the image once again. Reebok can link up with many sports academies and promote their shoes. Whereas the another opportunity for Reebok is they can heighten interest in fitness. Due to COVID-19, the movement around the world stopped due to quarantine. This created a lethargic environment. However, the fitness geeks and gradually the whole of society began looking out for home workout options. At last, we have threats. The threat for the Nike is increased competitive pressure. Although Nike is dominating the athletic industry, competition and new emerging brands are still potentially threats to the company. As per Reebok, the small shoe production market that uses their brand name and logos in their shoes is the major threat. Whereas the fluctuation of foreign currency in the market and the competitors like Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, Vans and Converse etc. are the other threats of Reebok. Conclusion and recommendation. Both Nike and Reebok operate differently, but they share the same ultimate goal to become the best fitness brand in the world. The areas that Nike can work on is Nike should focus on producing more affordable shoes for every group of customers. And secondly, Nike is still highly dependent on the US market, so they can target new emerging markets like India and China. And the areas that Reebok can work on is Reebok should focus on celebrity endorsement marketing. Also, Reebok should focus on creating shoes focusing on the latest trends and designs.